Hey, Blockhead. Hey, Blue Scones. So let's open this box up and see what we got. Let's see what we got. Other than they're a little bit sideways. Is this box? No way. It's gonna be really mad if this box was like half empty. I think they're just squished differently. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 50. Oh right, we got a full box. All right. Man, this thing just looks weird. That's kind of an interesting ender right there. It's got kind of the color of possibly silver. Do, do. There's a newer buffalo right over here. But it doesn't look like there's any spearing on it. But some of these enders just look alright. So I have a box of nickels and I have a box of halves. That I was gonna go through today. Let's see what we can pull out of it. Really curious about that one because really curious about this one because the last time I had one that looked like this, it was it turned out to be a silver on the end. So it's gonna be kind of interesting. It usually only takes me really just a few hours to look through most of the coins. There's some of the coins that like in these Jeffersons, these newer ones like this one right here, the modified Jefferson. They're like shield cents to me. They drive me just nuts because there's so many of them and they all look like they've been run over by a truck. So I usually skip over those. Blues, it was it was pretty good, and you don't have to apologize. I mean, it's the weather is the weather, and there's there's nothing you can really do about it. But I appreciate everybody that came in last night. I was able to sell a couple of the items that I had, not everything, but I'll take what I can get, and it's not really here to make money. I'm here for the love of the um for the community. So that's what it's all about to me. So I have nickels. Let's look at halves and see what we got on halves. don't see any enders specifically, silver or otherwise. Some of these look like some newer ones. That looks pretty sweet. Yeah, we're just gonna have to get into them and see what we can come up with. But should check a few and then I'm gonna put them back. Because these no wonders on that side, so I don't know what's on the other side. So should I start on nickels or should I start on half dollars? Nickels. Nickels? I knew nickels. Do these 5 rolls here. Six, 2016, 95, 92, 88. So the front one, no, that wasn't this one. I think it was one of these other ones. I haven't got to that one yet. 2013, 2016. So in the nickels, I'm looking for some varieties like the 2014 Philadelphia has double die on the reverse, stuff like that. Over mint marks in the 50s. There's gonna be a lot of these that are just piles of the same coin. Some that we've just seen better times. Oh, you guys see that? It's not a nickel at all. Look at that. That was in that roll. Come on. Focus on it. I don't know why it's... Well, now you want to work. So, 2002... if that's what I think it is, then that would be... turkey. Shake it like Ken does. So it looks like we got maybe a well, it is a foreign coin, but it looks like it's gonna be from Turkey. Yep, Turkey. So 2002 Turkey, out of the roll. Let's tick that. 2015, 2006, 2007, 19. I can't read that. Oh, that's a 58. That's a destroyed 58. Sorry. The 64s. I'm looking for the 64s. I'm looking for the 2009s. That's a Manticoin. I have one that I'm actually gonna send him. Hey Armando. We just started. Found this one, which is a coin from Turkey. So we're already at one foreign coin in the box. Just started. I do have nickels and half dollars. That's kind of an interesting color right there. A dark one right there. If you guys want to get in on this, I can. Where did it go? There we go. It's one of these two. It's this one. I don't know what's up with that one. I will open rolls for you guys. For donations to the email below. But I just wanted to come on here and see what we could find. 78, 77, 2006, 91. Be nice to find some of the older ones that have the full steps. 87, 75. No, it's 73. On 75, there's one that has a high mint mark. So basically, where this one is on the 77, if that D was in between that bottom 7 and his hair bow, if you find the 75 that has that, that are rumored to exist, then those are highly collectible. Where's my box at? So 64, 81, 81, is that a P or an S? It looks like a, that's a P, okay. 64 Denver. The 64 Denver, there is a an RPM on the back. Brian's variety site. No, sometimes. It's been a while since I've been on there. Most of the stuff that I'm looking for is just stuff that I've learned about. Through other coin channels and just research, but I have been on Brian's a couple of times. $1977. I got my scope up on my other screen up here. Because the computer that I'm using to stream with is not powerful enough to do it, and the server that I just built does not have a graphics card big enough to stream with. So I'm kind of in between, because ideally I would like to use that my big computer to do everything, because then I won't have as much lag or anything on it. But as far as all the different variety sites, use whatever you can find, because that's gonna be better overall for learning. There's some stuff like I was talking about last night. On coins that there's actually references to, like, there's one that has a reference to the Seated Liberty dime, and all of the different sections, all of the different design varieties that are associated with just the seated dime. And that's just a website just on the dime. And it's not like an entire an entire breakdown, but it does provide a lot of really good information um, on those. Oh, this is mechanical doubling. 2006, 2014 D. When I started searching pennies, I had them, all in different boxes, and then I would sit there with my different boxes and go through each decade, and then sort them out by year, and then through each year, um, each stacks of the years, I would go through and reference um, um, a couple of sites um, like copper coins. I would use. I still have them somewhere. Let me check. So I have Wexlers, copper coins, and then there was a third one that I don't use anymore. But I had those up, and I would compare the difference between those two sites and see, what else was out there. That's like 2005. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with using websites to reference, but most of what I'm looking for right now are just things that I already know. 2006. So then, the other thing that I'm looking for is going to be items like the Buffalo nickels. The newer bison nickels have the Philadelphia has a double die variety on the obverse. The 2000 the Denver has a die gouge on the reverse that goes across. There's actually a couple of them that goes across the reverse of the bison. So they call them speared buffaloes or speared bisons. And there's a lot of things that that I look for. I'm looking for, in the 70s and the 60s coins, nickels that still have full steps, because those are more valuable than just your regular nickel, because they've survived. That almost looked like an S. 2000, 83. The other thing I'm looking for is really good quality coins that I will keep for when I do projects like birth year sets. Like I've got a couple of these that I thought about working on. So this would be a birth year set that has half, quarter, dime, nickel, and cent. So if I found good enough coins, MS quality coins, that I would build birth year sets out of them. So I have two of these that I'm holding on to. And then there's, of course, the books. 2017P. You know, for me, it's completing the books, or ooh, I don't know what that is. That is obviously a metal detecting find. Let's see if I can get a year out of it. 1971 Denver. 2012, 2000. And what's really interesting about the nickels in my area is that they are really not searched very much. So I get a really mix of good mix of Philadelphia and Denver coins in the nickels that I don't get in any other on any other ones. Something about the mix is a lot better. June 7, 1999. The most I've learned is I did start with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and I did start with Coin Op, and it kind of progressed from there. Because the points that they were hitting off of made me want to go figure out more. So what makes those particular coins valuable versus any other coins? The styles, the varieties. So 1963. Good afternoon, Christine. So I'm just going through nickels. I have nickels and I have half dollars. In case you guys want me to open rolls for you, let me know. I found my last box I have is I found these. This is just one stack, so there's 6 here, but every single one of these is a 2017 Denver, and I found 6 of these in my last box. You need a buffalo? Which one? Got buffalo. This is all buffaloes in 2009s. Most of these are dateless buffaloes, but yeah, that one. Three buffaloes in my last 2 boxes. The last 3 boxes of nickels that I went through, I had 2 silvers in each box. So this is the 2005 P. Yeah, I'm assuming. I got one that had a beautiful mint mark and details were amazing. On a buffalo, That's a 49. No, what is that? That's an S. Is that a 49S? What's the mintage on that? Oh, lost my books. Oh, they're just hiding. So a 49S has a mintage of 9.7 million. $1949 S. Right there. It's clear as day. Looks like he just got into the coin roll. It's got a little bit of damage on the front, but yeah, there you go. Here's your 40s. Almost to the Buffaloes. It's actually kind of amazing how many 40s and 50s that I pull out from this area, because really, I mean, these coins are really not searched, which I find really kind of amazing when, like, most of the half dollars are very well searched around here. 1963, it's got a lot of damage on it though. 77, 96, 98. Yeah, no steps. Yeah, but still, even if it had one step on it, that would be something else. For a coin that old, they usually have all of their steps gone. 17, 16, 74, 2005 Denver. I mean, even if you go back to like the 70s, pretty much all of the 70s, they're all worn off. Most of the 80s are even worn off. So to find something from the 40s or with some kind of resemblance of steps is going to be... It would be kind of fun to find a really good era variety. There's one that I found was in 1954, like the D over S. That was a really interesting find. But I don't think any of that compares to the 1950 Denver that I found coin roll hunting. That was intense. To find something like that in a roll, it's like, these things are, basically super hard to find. I just happened across it. '96, 82, 92, 87. I noticed a lot of the 80s have some pretty good stamps on them. They generally have a pretty good strike. How much did you pay for it, Blockhead? Or Blues? If you don't mind me asking. $2010. piece. 85. $12. That one there. These are all ones that I found in circulation. So I've built these books completely out of circulation coins. So these are the only ones that I'm missing to complete this book. 38 Denver, 39 Denver, 39S, 42S, and 44. So this, and I, to find that many good coins, even the silvers, if you notice, I'm only missing 2 silvers. All of these other ones, all these other silvers, I found in rolls. So that's a lot of fun. And the thing that I'm trying to get across, there's a 57, there's a nice 57, is that the coin books and the coin roll hunting, you can complete sets by doing it. Now, to be 100% honest, you're not going to get top quality coins. You're going to get whatever comes out of the rolls, but that's not going to stop you from finding some good stuff that exists in any condition, like key dates, like buffaloes, like silver. Like you will find those types of coins. 2006. Yours was an MS. PH. $76. $64. No RPM. 2016, 2007. Oh, I almost thought it was a 2009. I was gonna be like, oh, there's the first 2009 today, because that generally happens. I usually find one of three different types in a box. And that's a buffalo, a 2009, or a silver. If I get really lucky, I'll get a proof. What would you do if you came across like one of the just like we'll call it a complete fluke, and say you came across 1950D MS 66 shape, just coin roll hunting, just hanging out, going through some coins. How much would you freak out? I would absolutely lose my mind. I was kind of in shock when I found that 50D, just finding it, because here's a 1940. My camera will focus because it hates light. 1940S. But finding the 1950 was just a, you know, kind of surreal, because it's one of those that's like, yeah, it's a key date, so you don't really expect it, and then all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere. It's like, well, wait a minute, like where did this one come from? What other coin would you not expect to get out of a roll? Say you're going through a roll of nickels, or, you know, dimes or anything. Like what would be the last coin that you would ever expect to find in a roll? That would be relative to that roll. So, like, you're not gonna find a Morgan inside of a inside a roll of dollars or anything crazy like that. But, like, what would be like the rarest coin? Oh, this poor guy. It looks really good. It's a 66. It looks really good on the front, and then you go to the back, and it's just completely destroyed. Just completely decimated. $18.77 Indian Head Penny. Okay, that must be the key date for this series. 1909 SVDB. I completely agree. I think I would still trip out about that. Gosh, I tripped out about finding a 1909. It was in between two boxes that I got right next to each other, and I found a 1909 and a 1909 VDB, basically back to back in between boxes. And that was my very first experience with the 1909s. Like, I knew they were relatively rare, but I just didn't, you know, wouldn't anticipate finding something like that. Trying to get this to focus here. I'm hoping that this shows up. Like, look at the luster on this 75, and this is a 75. Like, there's a lot of luster left on this coin. Almost any KD8 coin. Yeah. $1969 Kennedy half-dollar accented hair. So that would have to be a proof. In a roll. Which we find proofs in rolls all the time, right? Might be die deterioration. Yeah, this is. Several keys and Indians. The accented hair. The one that is graded by PCGS is the 64 accented hair, but that's on a proof. How about a V nickel? Yeah, I would love to find another V nickel. I've found 2 already, which really goes to show that these things are not searched, because how, like, you know, I feel like it's hard enough to find V nickels. You know, I feel like the V nickels are the Indian head of the penny series, and to find one of those would be rare in itself. But I found 2 of them so far. I got a 1903 and a 1912. And they are fun to find, because they stand out. Like, they if you get a little bit of the edge, like, you can tell exactly what it is. $52S. $2,000. 1980. 64. A 43 in pocket change. My son actually found a 57. A 57 dime at a Coinstar. 57 or 52. It's one of those 2. But he just went up to him and was like, "Hey, there's a bunch of coins in here, Dad." I'm like, "Well, grab them." Yeah. And he had a bunch of foreign coins, but then he was telling me the date on the dime, because I'm like, "Hey, why is there a dime in there?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's a silver dime." So my son finds silver too, and I am okay with that. It's perfectly acceptable for me. $1964. It's Bison, Denver. 1978, 2016, 78, 2011, 2006. I was kind of hoping, there didn't seem like that there was a lot of activity on YouTube this morning, which is why I'm live streaming today. Ow. Excuse me. Ow. Ooh, sorry. Ooh. Oh. That was rough. I don't know where that came from. Almost ready for live streaming Internet companies coming on Monday to fix uploads. What's your upload speed? Mine's like less than a meg. It's pretty small. .6. Yeah, that's lower than mine. But I'm not really paying that much for internet, so I'm not that worried about it. It gets me by for what I'm doing, so whatever works. So I'm looking at a 64 no steps, but the overall coin is in pretty good shape. I've been at .1. I'm in the country, so I don't have line of sight internet. It's gotta be rough sometimes. I'm in an area that is very suburban, so there's should be lots of options for internet, and there are only a few options for internet, and just the overall service just sucks. But like I said, it's not something that I'm gonna pay hundreds of dollars a month to maintain when I don't need to. 2013, 2014 Denver, 2017. There's a 72. Try to get some good coins up here. 2017, 76, 84, 82, 2007. Have you guys ever looked at the well, it's a 74. What am I thinking? I'm thinking that one thing. The newer nickels. The newer nickels have like, because there's some that I've seen that have like super good, like they're good quality, like good strikes. But the devices are like weak. So like, I don't know if they just keep repolishing the dies until like there's like nothing left. Because all the devices are like blending into the fields, and it's like, why did you even strike this coin when there's clearly like no no life left in the die. Like just retire it. They keep stamping away. Something about that 78. Nothing that I can see. More coffee. Yeah, I agree. I always use more coffee. 2016. Have you guys found any 2018 coins yet? I found only a handful of pennies for the 2018s. Then I've only found maybe 2 in the nickels. And I kind of figured that there would be more that would be out by now, because usually they come out in the first part of the year. I'm kind of hoping to see, because I would like to see if I can put together a set of 2018s. Obviously the hard one is going to be the Kennedy halves. Just because they're NIFCs, and they would be generally harder to find. That I might actually have to buy one of those, but I would like to find them. I think I'm gonna put together a set of 2017s, just out of the coins that I have found, including these $50 that I found. 17p what? Pennies? As I speak. Come on, you have to pick up that light somewhere. 2018, so there's some 2018. I got really lucky. I had a buddy that I was working with, and he was going back to visit his family in Philadelphia, back in Philly, and I talked him into getting a box of pennies over there. And so, you know, I gave him the money and everything. I'm like, just go to one of the banks and say you want to get a box of pennies, and then, you know, because what I was going for is a better mix of Philadelphia minted coins, because being on the West Coast makes it really hard to find East Coast minted coins. And so he brought this box back to me, and he was saying that he had a hard time getting through not customs but security, because it was a solid object and that kind of thing, and they had to tear it open, blah blah blah. So I get this box. I'm like, all right, this is cool, and I get it home and I open it up, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, this is a full box of 2017 Philly minted pennies. So I end up getting a full box of the P Mint mark. I'm like, that is crazy. And it was really interesting because you know, had gone down to the coin shop, and they were selling them for like $4, a roll. That's what they look like. They are really, really kind of neat. So this is the first time that the Philadelphia put a mint mark on the penny. Now the question is, does anybody know why? Why did the Philadelphia Mint put the P mint mark on the 2017 penny? Age 2005. One. Getting there. 64, 87, 75. So the 2017, the P mint mark, comes from the 225th anniversary. What is that? It's a 63. Yeah, you were on definitely on the right track. And the thing that was kind of interesting about the release of the 2017s is that they just kind of released them and didn't tell anybody. They just because usually when they have a design change, or anything like that, there's fanfare about it. But the Mint kind of just sent them out like it was like an everyday thing. So they did it really quietly, and until people started asking questions. It's like, wait a minute, where's, why does... Sorry, I was distracted there for a second. Why does this have a P mint mark? And that's when it came out that the P mint mark is for the 225th anniversary of the Mint. Bloop. Off by a century and a half. Yeah, but the cool thing is that you knew, I'm assuming that that they would do a design change on something like that, and it would be a celebration of something. Which, if you follow some of the some of the coinage. Oh, that's a 58. Oh, poor 58. You didn't have to get destroyed. Poor guy. If you follow the coinage, there's a lot of history, and and you can follow in the designs what was going on in the country during that time. With mint marks, the placement of mint marks, the names, the designs on the coins. Yeah, I mean, our coins actually show a lot of history. The fact that we went back to the Jefferson design, um, when they redid it, because they felt that it was like a really good, like they wanted to go back to the roots, like they wanted to go back to the known design, because it stood for stuff, it stood for the country. um, Rarity of coins during war, that's an excellent point. And you can see then in 1943 that there was a lot of silver coinage, and steel coinage, because they needed some of the metals in that was primarily used to make the coins out of. They needed that metal for the war effort, so they used other materials um, to make coins out of. Number 75. There's really a lot of interesting, like if you go through and you actually like read up on a series, a series of coins. It could be anything. It could be nickels, it could be dimes, it could be anything. And you read about the history on where that coin came from and what was going on in the time that coin was designed, and minted and circulated. Really tells the story about what was going on in the country. Um, the penny right now is one of those things that is still being debated, because they've talked about getting rid of it for years, because it actually costs more right now to manufacture that coin than it is worth. So I think the last figures that I remember, that it was costing like 1.3 cents for every cent. So, the question would be that, why do we continue minting these coins that actually cost us to make? Now, on the flip side, some of the other coinage, and especially like the dollars, cost us pennies to make, and it's worth $1. So, technically, it's making the money there. But what about an entire design change on all of the coinage? What about getting rid of the pennies and nickels completely, and just going to a just a dime, quarter, 50-cent piece or something, something like that, or just leaving nickels, dimes, and quarters, and that's it. What about something like that? Like, would you just drop out
some of the coinage, or would you change it entirely? And that subject has been brought up a couple of times on what the realistic um, options are um, for the next step of coinage, or are we such an electronically driven society that we just get rid of coins completely? '88, 64 Denver. I can't see anything there. 57. That's a not bad looking 57. There's something going on with the network. Hold on. Machine double. So sales tax, yeah. The way that Canada does it is basically the premise of basic rounding. So if a price is, say, 94 cents, then you round down to 90 cents. Or if it's 95 cents or higher, then you round it up. Or maybe there's a universal sales tax, because there are a lot of states that still don't have sales tax.
Like Oregon. Oregon does not have a sales tax. Hey, Snakefoot. Thanks for coming in. So, if you were to, let's say, remove coinage. So, we'll say the penny goes away. We will say that the nickel, the dime, and the quarter stay. And everything else goes away. Well, then what would you do for the coin collectors? Because you're still gonna have Snakefoot. No, Snakefoot, right? Snakefoot. You would still have to put something out for the coin collectors. Otherwise, the hobby as a whole, it would basically die. So what would you do for those coin collectors? And I was watching some videos and listening to some podcasts about that very topic. That there are some people, even at the mint level, that feel that the coinage needs to change, because our coinage has been not necessarily stagnant, but it's been the same. It's been the same for 40, 50 years. And in reference to these podcasts and these videos, they were specifically talking about designs, about what can be done differently with designs. And the hardest part about the designs is just the design process. Hey, Cindelicious. And here's the point that I'm getting to, is that the design process in its entirety is basic, but it's not complete. So basically, there's the design process of a coin, and if you guys don't know how the design process works, I encourage you to go read up on it, because it's really kind of interesting how the entire system works. And so you have a couple of groups that are involved in designing coins,
And how they pick out a design is on a piece of paper. You know, they look at different designs printed out, but what they're lacking is they're lacking a hands-on specimen, we'll call it, to see how the design actually lays out of the coin. And um, in this podcast, they were talking about that it looks great printed out, the designs, because they were specifically referencing the state quarters on that it is a great idea, but there are a number of people in that work with the mint and stuff that they really thought like that the state quarter program was kind of a flop. It was good because it changed the design of the coins, but it was kind of poor because the designs themselves were hard. Like they didn't come out the way that they wanted them to appear, because they appear differently on a 1-inch disc than they do on a piece of paper. And there will be, there's a lot of hoops that the coin designers, the coin artists, the engravers, all those people, there's a lot of hoops that they have to jump through to satisfy the powers that be. And there are some of those hoops that really limit what they can do on a coin. Like they have their guidelines, and their guidelines say that you have to have X on the front and Y on the reverse. Okay, so you try to design something around the X and Y on the respective faces, but that doesn't leave a lot of room for anything else. It doesn't leave a lot of room for artistic ability, because they're effectively being told this is how you have to design a coin. Well, that takes the art out of it. That takes the freedom away from the design process. And I think it's really kind of unfair. And I would like to see a change, a significant change, or a continuous change in our coinage, because I think that would satisfy a lot of different people. Yes, it has to get the approval, but the design process, there's 3 different groups that give recommendations on the designs, and that's after designs are created. What I'm talking about is the steps before that. That it's basically, I would like to see an overall change in the coinage that, and again, this is going to be one of those things that you're going to have to pull back on the restrictions a little bit and say, be a little bit more open. Don't be afraid to go outside the box in designing this coin, because, it's something new, it's something different. I like the idea of the different state quarters, because that will drive excitement for the program. That will drive excitement because, hey, if you wanted to do a set, you would have to get one from each. Something like that. That for coin collectors, it would drive them as different designs, and you, you can't not have one of each design. You know, you would have to have at least one of each design in order to have a complete set. For the general public, it would be beneficial because it's something different. And then it would also help the designers, because then they can do what they do best on the art side of it, and actually allow them to design the coins. And I think that would bode better. Um, that would bode better overall. Oh, hey.
There we go. 1943 P. We've got silver.
Silver in the box. I'm over here yapping my face. And it would be better for coin collectors. It would be better for the public because it's something different. It would be better for the artists because they get to design. And that's what it should be all about. That's, the design of the coin. I would love to see some really interesting change of designs, and it's okay to have some some staple features like Monticello on the backs, or the eagle, or maybe a bust, or just something like that. I'm okay with those staples because that shows a consistency. But let's make it different. How can we get it so that they will allow the designers to do what they do best and design coins? Because I really feel like that it's taking, kind of taking their job away. Because you're not allowing them to do what they want to do, what they get paid to do.
Just because we found a silver in the box, basically means that now I have to find a 2009. That's basically how this works. I haven't found much of the 2004-2005 Phillies to look at the obverse for the double die. I haven't really found a lot of older ones either. I've got 660s. I'm sorry, 360s, 350s, and then a couple of 40s. So not too much.
(1941) Philadelphia. So, getting back to what I was talking about is, so how can we as coin collectors help in this situation? Is there something that we can do? Is there something that we can design? Is there, what steps can we do to help the situation? I'm not even sure of the steps of what we can do. Other than, obviously, we'd have to go through our representatives for each of the states. But maybe, maybe that's a grassroots thing um, that can be done with the coin collectors and the coin shows to really drive home the need um, for for something different.
Oh, who was it? Cindy.
Sandy, are you here?
Where's Cindy? Oh, she didn't run away. Cindy. Calling Cindy. Didn't didn't you want a buffalo? Waiting.
Oh, I was gonna say, because 2006, 1999, 2004, 2014, and a fat buffalo.
So I see an S mint mark right there. Right down there, I see an S mint mark. So let's see. 1937. Bam.
Hot dang. And you can read that straight up.
Alright.
Let's take a look at the date here. 1937. We got all of our legs. It is an S. That's beautimous. What's the mintage on a 37S Buffalo? $37S Buffalo, 5.6 million. Holy smokes. Huh. Okay. So we found two lower mintage coins already in this box. And a silver, because we can't forget the silver. Hot dang. That's awesome. And the best part is that this is the stuff that I find all the time. It's like, man, this is cool. This is the stuff that, this is the cool stuff. So, blues, to your point, state pennies. Yeah. I would be concerned that, just with kind of the state of the penny, as it is, that it probably wouldn't do well. But maybe, or maybe to your point, state coins. Like in the 1700s that they had, like the Connecticut's that was more of a state coin. It's a nice 1958. Wow. 1958 Denver. No steps, but still pretty good looking. So what if we came up with a state coin program instead of just the state quarters? What about everything else? And you could build collections off of your state, kind of like birth year, only with different states. How cool would that be? Say you wanted to do one in your birth state, birth year, you could do a set for that. Say you wanted to do a state set for the state that you were born in, you could do that. Say you wanted to do one for, for a friend or a spouse or a child, a niece, a nephew. Like, what kind of cool things, what kind of cool stories would be embedded in a simple collection like that? That would be interesting. That's one of those things that I sit there and I think about as the what if, what could we, you know what's the next, big thing for coins? Maybe it's coins that have a maybe it's something in the coins that have like a digital value to them, where coins would have like the QR codes, or I don't even think that I have something that has QR codes on it. Checking. Nope. Yeah, that's a poor example. If they have maybe QR codes, or if they have something like embedded in the coin, that represents something digital to make it more more interesting, more modern, like more technology, and that would be a process in itself to be able to do that, because then we still have to get to the core of the business side of coin making, and ensuring that it doesn't cost more to make the coins than they're worth. But what if we found a technology that was very cheap to mass produce? Something like I see it at some point all money would be digital. To a point, yes. But there would still have to be a backup of the what if. What if computers stopped working? Then what would you have? What would be the fallback? Because there should always be a fallback in place. And that's why gold, silver, precious metals, that's why that they're really starting to gain traction, in my opinion, is because of that, of the what if. So people are hoarding those metals, because the less supply increases the demand for them and increases the price. 79. That's better look at 79. Another Great Depression will be the far back. Yeah, but then like how would you recover from something like that, or do you recover from something like that? What if we could seamlessly transition between, or a methodical transition between a full tactile currency to a digital one?
What if there was a way to transition between that? Do you think we'll ever get the copper pennies back, or that they'll do away with the penny altogether? Yeah, I don't know. I think the way that the technology side is going, there will always be the demand for copper. I don't know. That's really hard to say, because with if they do away with the pennies, if they just stop manufacturing pennies, then that's really gonna drive up the demand for those copper pennies, because of the state that they've stopped producing them. But so many people would have hoarded the copper pennies that then would flood the market with copper, and it would drop it to basically nothing. But that would also depend on the demand for copper in items like plumbing, in items like appliances, in items like technology, circuit boards, that kind of stuff. To drive the circle of life for the metal to be recycled. So that situation could be an interesting one, because that could really go either way. And there's really nothing stopping it if it went one way versus the other. Like if it went so that they got rid of the penny, and then everybody unloaded their copper for the copper value, then that would flood the marketplace. But maybe if they didn't get rid of the penny, but maybe put a premium on the copper cents specifically, kind of like the gold reclamation that happened in the 20s, where they called back all the gold that people had, all the gold coins, something like that, only with copper, to get some of that copper back. I mean, I don't think that would. I don't know. I think that it would affect some people, but not a lot of people. But then you're still putting that copper back on the market, and flooding it, which would essentially drive the price down. I'm looking for. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. But I would like to see something in the coins that brings them back to artistic, in the sense of like some of the old like the Barbers and the Seated and like the Morgans, especially stuff like those that has it actually looks like that it has life to it. That in itself may drive interest in
in a new program for new coinage. Yeah, the Walker is a great looking example. So, could we take something like that and modernize it? Could we take something like the Walker and redesign it to have the same sense of, you know, this is more than just a coin. It is, you know, part of our history, um, to fit modern. Oh, I personally like the Morgans the best. They just, you know, there's just so much history, but, you know, that comes with really knowing the design. Um, that you can just look at it and say, hey, this is a piece of history. And I think a lot of our change is, you know, it's a coin. It's got some guy on it. It's got some stuff on the back. I like all the detail on the back. But then like on a lot of the U.S. coins on the front, you've got Liberty, you've got the date, you've got In God We Trust, and you have a guy. You know, not to say anything wrong with this Kennedy, but where's the art? Where's the wow? And that's what coins should be. We should be happy. You know, it should. This is obviously a figurative sense. We should be happy to spend coins because we're passing along art from one person to another. Like that's what I feel like when, like, people did business transactions that, especially coin collectors, you know, in the past that are just like, hey, this is a really cool deal. I'm gonna give this one to you, and you're gonna give me all that stuff over there. And they look at the coin, and they say, hey, that's a really nice coin. Yeah, I'll trade you. Like a rough barter system. $16, 61, 16, 2010, almost 2009, 2016, 16, 77. There's a 2005P. Let's see if we can get no double die, no. Reverse. No, I'm not seeing it. If you ever get up to the Northwest, there's a place in Florida. There's a place in Idaho, that is this little restaurant. It's kind of a truck stop kind of place. But if you guys ever get the chance to go there, and it is called the 10,000 Silver Dollar Bar. And if you go into the bar, they have 10,000 silver dollars on the wall. And it is the most impressive display of coinage that I have ever seen. And that's what coinage, like, especially in a display like that, like, that is the kind of feeling that it should have. Now, if you just grabbed a bunch of Kennedys and stuck them up on the side of the wall, really not gonna have not much of a presentation, is it? Again, nothing wrong with the Kennedy house, but like if you just put a bunch of them up, just there's just not a lot to them. Now, if you put up a wall of Morgans, then that would be something else. If you put up a wall of large scents, that again would be something else. And it's that kind of sense of the art and the history that should be designed in these coins. But if you guys ever put up a wall of Kennedys, then send me a picture because I want to see it. Because I think that would be pretty impressive in itself. So 2006, 62, Denver. $2,000p, 2005p for the Bison reverse, looking for a doubling on the obverse, but I'm not seeing it. 2015, 2015. The Mint was looking for a better reaction when the shield set come out. Yes. And look at the history, look at the documentation regarding the design process for the shield set. Or you can go back and look at my videos because I did a video on it. The design process, they narrowed it down to 23 designs. But again, they were stuck with certain criteria that they had to meet. And so when they came out with the designs, they got it narrowed down to like 6. And the one that they wanted, or that that one group wanted to use, had a wheat stalk on the reverse. And it was decided against because the wheat stalk on the reverse that they had designed looked too much like a coin that was actually used in Germany in the 20s. So they decided against that one and went with a shield instead. Which I think, I mean, I appreciate the idea of the shield, of it being kind of a throwback to some of the earlier designs of coins. Having the shield with Liberty, it being that kind of sense of security, but it's really plain. There's not a lot to it. And I think we're missing that piece. We're missing that piece of the puzzle that we're missing the artwork. We're missing the expression of the coins. So be 16, 13, 2005p. Looking for doubling on Liberty and the U. the rinse that they put on the new coins is terrible. Yes, I 100% agree. The rinse that they are doing for a lot of the coins is terrible because they come out with all these stupid spots on them, and they're not very good. But they're coming out with coins just to come out with coins. They're not coming out with art. Could you imagine what they would do if they came out with Morgans with a bunch of spots on them? They would rightfully take all of those back, melt them down, and try it again. Because you wouldn't do that to a Morgan. Denver. That would be a nightmare. Yeah, it would be a nightmare. It would be a nightmare to have, you know, tarnished, grungy, just, you know, rough-looking brand new coinage, that came out of circulation. Like, what would the people think if they came out with this new coinage and it looks like that that they just found it in the ground? 2008, 2006, 2008, 2006, 2008, 2006. Let me see if I can find that. Give me 1 second here. Shield. Yeah, they won't find any of them. So, initially there had been 18 design candidates. The design incorporated one or more elements of the following elements: the United States Capitol building, the American flag, a shield, and an eagle. And bound wheat stalks. That's what they were given. So if you guys want to check it, I'm going to post this link that actually shows all of the designs that were created. There were originally 18 designs that show different variations, and the wheat stalk one looks very much like the German coin, so I can understand choosing against it. But some of the other ones are really kind of neat though. And if we're talking for a penny, so like if we looked at a penny on like the one that I really like as something different is the LP15, which has the eagle on it, carrying the shield that has 1 cent across the bottom.
which is really kind of a standout design. The pen and the sword on LP12 would have been a really interesting design, because we haven't really had anything like that, on the back of a um, back of a coin. So I think something like that would have been maybe better, as to have something really different. 16,673, 85, 86, 2015. 82, 89, 2006, 2007, D, original Gadge, most sparing, 2017, 2000, 2006, 15, 82, 2015. Yeah, and the best part is, Blues, is that all of those really vary, um, in their style, and I think that's the art side of the coin design process that we are just really missing right now, and have been for the last probably couple decades, worth of coinage, because a lot of our coins, even though, they don't need, permission from Congress, after X number of years, I want to say it's like 30 or something like that. A lot of the designs on our coinage lasts, or has been lasting, over 40 years or 50 years. And there's not a lot of change in it. There's not a lot of change in our change. Yeah, I went there with that. And I know that I don't know personally, but I would, um, assume that there's a lot of frustration on the mint employees, um, to design something when they're not really designing. They're just told, here's what you have to have. Going back to what I said before, just design a coin. It's like, well, you can't do that though. Let them come up with something new, something brand new. Then, if you have to tweak it a little bit. But let's come up with something original. Oops. Now I'm throwing coins. Maybe they should have given it to fourth graders to come up with. Made that. I think we have enough talent on the the artist side of it. But maybe that's something that they need to really come up with something different. Something completely different that stands for us as a country in this time. Oh man, that's a really good bison. No sparing.
It's kind of an off-centered, not off-centered, but misaligned die on that one. '17, 2016, 65, 15. Oh, that's a heavy miss. But it's right on the edge too. I don't know. This might. No. Let's see what they say. 1975, 81, 78, 2007, 2011. There's 64 in there. So like the people vote on it, but that is just cause more problems. Well, but in realistically, the people should be voting on something like that. Our representatives should be representative of the people that chose them, not just what the party lines decide. They should be able to talk to their people and be able to appropriately respond to those types of things. Now, if it takes an old school, if it takes a ballot vote for people to choose something, yeah, why not? Why not? That would not hurt one thing at all, because it would be a direct reflection of what the people want. And there's nothing wrong with that. 2006, 2016. Severe weather just came up. That's fine. We got one roll left on the nickels, and then I'm gonna drop off and actually jump over to Mantic Coins. I didn't want to cut into his time because he just went live 2 minutes ago. So if you guys have not visited Mantic Coins, please take a chance and go over there. They do great content with half dollars. Shay is extremely knowledgeable on the Kennedy halves. So make sure and tell them CJ sent you, and show them some love because they deserve it. He's gunning for 1,000 subscribers right now, which he deserves it. And yeah, I'm not anywhere near that, so I'll get to that bridge when we get close. But I'm just gonna keep doing my thing, and so we'll finish up here and see what else we got in this, and wrap it up, and then we'll go have some fun over at Mantic's. I am surprised that I did not find a 2009 in this box. I usually get one if I get one of my other ones, but it does not look like that we're gonna make it today. So no 2009, but we did get our other two. We did get our silver, and we did get our beautiful buffalo and a foreign. So that's what we got, folks, on our search of nickels. Thanks all you guys for coming in. Yeah, and it's a great box. I mean, I love finding the silvers. I love finding the buffaloes. So if I can find, if I can find any of those, I will take it, because it still shows that these boxes and this currency, that the nickels, are not searched in my area. So, yeah. Thanks everybody for coming in. I really appreciate it. Make sure you smash that like button.
if you guys are watching this later, please put in a comment below saying, hey, liked your video. It's all good, and I'll see you guys later. CJ's Coins. Thanks for watching.